it would become really easy to cheat and just say, oh yeah, this is the card that I drew at the beginning of the turn. How much does something like that impact, like when you're thinking, like, should we put this in, should we not put this in?
We certainly think about it a lot. I mean, in that particular example, you are drawing those cards sequentially, so like, you know, it's going to take some getting used to. Like, the first time you play with this, it might be a little bit rough, but like, if you're putting these in your deck, like, the first card you draw off of Howling Mine, you need to, like, you know, consider that card that you're drawing, and then, you know, use it as a miracle or not, reveal it or not, it's optional whether you're even revealing that card. If it is a miracle even, like, you can choose not to be playing it then, but then you draw the second card and proceed along, and yeah, it'll take some getting used to, and that was certainly, you know, we explored other things like, well, maybe we can only do this if you have an empty hand when you draw the card, and like, you know, just in the end, it's so many things where like many people are playing more casually anyways, where it's sort of on them, like, you know, most people when we talk to around the building that do play more casually, in particular, we're just like, yeah, we can police ourselves on this, like people aren't going to be cheating in their casual games. And
I'd also like to reiterate that Matt Tabak is the rules manager for Magic, and he will write up a very definitive fact about this mechanic, which will apply to like tournament play, for example, which are the less casual situations that you might be asking about. Thank you.
I really liked Rise of the Eldrazi, especially the limited format. And now with Avacyn Restored being another standalone block, I was wondering if this was, why this was going to be a standalone block, and if this standalone block will come again in the future.
Yes, so I know that so Brian Tinsman was the lead designer for Rise of the Eldrazi and also for Avacyn Restored, and I know that when he was kind of given the job to be the lead, he was kind of told like, hey, this is going to be its own set. I know that we're still kind of experimenting with that sort of thing. Like, I can't say one way or the other whether we're going to come back to it, but it would not surprise me. I know that it also gives us some freedom to explore shifts in the setting. For example, the Eldrazi arriving to Zendikar or Avacyn being restored in Innistrad that give us some cool ways to like put a new spin on things mechanically. So I think that's definitely been something that we've enjoyed and had a lot of.
Yeah, I don't think we're done playing with formats. Like we're still playing around, still trying to find new hooks, new things that ways of changing the three-act structure, or ways of changing the structure of the block that will work. In the very, very early days of Avacyn Restored, we considered having it be not set in Innistrad. Part of the reason why it is, and why it's more connected to Innistrad and Dark Ascension than Rising of the Eldrazi was, because we heard what you guys had to say when Rising of the Eldrazi came out, and how much you wanted a continuation, how much you wanted a third act, how many of you thought it was connected enough, and how many of you thought that it could use more connections, and I think Avacyn Restored benefits from that feedback.
Thank you.
Cool. I have two quick questions. One, since the last two sets were all about all the white humans waiting like desperately for Avacyn to come back, wouldn't it have made sense for Avacyn herself to have the miracle mechanic?
I can talk a little bit about that actually. So Miracle was not in the original design. There was a different mechanic that we tried really hard to get to work that had a lot of the same goals as Miracle has, which is we want it to be exciting and you know, make it, each turn feels really exciting. Back then Avacyn did have that mechanic, but as Dave said, when we couldn't get that mechanic to work, we moved on to Miracle. Miracle is a spell mechanic, and Avacyn, obviously we want her to be a really awesome, badass angel. It's very difficult to merge the two, and I think you'll find that they just want to serve different goals. Like, Avacyn is a really awesome permanent on the battlefield, and Miracles are kind of creating that excitement in one shot, which is what spells are really good at doing.
And also, I play Turbo Fog in Standard because I'm cool. I was wondering, out of the next 250 cards in this set, will this set make me happy? How many Fogs did you guys print?
I think there's Fog Angel and Fog Demon.
Soulblood, Fogger.
It will make you happy to know that one of our developers, Billy Moreno, loves Turbo Fog and actually did play a number of variants on that during the FFL.
I think you will find some cards that you will enjoy.
I made up Fog Angel, it's not real.
Oh,
hello. Yes,
so my question is,
with angels being such a huge part of this set, a lot of the appeal of angels for a lot of people is that they're these huge, flavorfully and mechanically huge bombs. How does R&D keep it exciting between when you have a tribal angel theme? And I don't know if there are a bunch of demons too. When you have these things that have historically been such bombs, you make them such a huge part and a diverse part of the same set, how do you keep them all exciting? We have 30 angels in the set or whatever. How do you keep it interesting from one angel to the other?
The glib answer is you'll see. The slightly longer answer is what I didn't want.
You will see.
I wasn't thrilled with the Urza Saga decision to put boring angels in for the sake of making it feel angel-y. Like I don't want a 2-2 vanilla angel. That sucks. Like that just doesn't excite anyone. That takes something that's iconic and cool and kind of cheapens it a little bit.
So, we got the time. So thank you guys very much for your questions. Before you, and thank you for coming to this. So before you all stand up though, there is one more thing we thought you might want to know.
We're not going to take any more questions.
Tell me about bolus. What is this?